So I don't believe the NFL actually admitted they had no direct evidence. They had some circumstantial evidence. Anyway, that was on a San Francisco TV station. Here's what Tom Brady said: "I've banned my dad from talking. He's no longer available to the media." This is awesome. You can actually do that to your dad. "I love my dad, as any parent knows how much you love your kids. My dad's been my best friend my entire life. He's always been my number one supporter. Hopefully, he's at the game cheering me on. He's a great man. I love him to death. He taught me a lot about life." Like, I can hear it. It's like, but come on, you're killing me here. You're killing me. But that's pretty much what Team Brady thinks, right? They think this was a witch hunt. That's really a snapshot into what it's like.
Absolutely. Last year, or a year and a half ago, when Tom Sr. called a San Francisco radio station and called Goodell a flaming liar on the air. So about 2 weeks later, when I was talking to Tom Sr., I said, "What does your son think about you doing this?" He goes, "Dad, you're not doing me any favors." And I do think that, if you've seen the way that Tom has handled this for the last 2 years, clearly he's extremely upset about what the NFL has put him through, but he's never been specifically critical of the commissioner, even though sometimes I really do believe what his father says is what he's thinking.
How do you think it affects his legacy if they win?
I think as the Deflategate thing went on, I think most people, Doug, realized it was a bunch of nonsense. And I was in the courtroom that day when the NFL attorney admitted they had no concrete evidence. But if you're referring just to if he wins...
But wait, I want to challenge you on that a little bit. Like, look, I don't think there was evidence. There was some really weird stuff. There was some weird stuff. And I like, my general working thought is that they knew how he liked the footballs, and they knew that come hell or high water, the balls needed to be kind of just so. And did he order the code red? Like, no, but they did it because that's how he'd always wanted them. But I don't think that most people. I think you're a little too dismissive of it, only in that because of Spygate, and because. Basically because of Spygate, I think that most people, or many people, maybe a good portion of our society thinks the Patriots are constantly cheating, and this is just another case of them getting caught.
Well, I do think that's the perception.
Yes.
I don't think it's the reality.
I would agree with you, but you started by saying, and I don't want to misquote you, but you were like, well, I think most people thought it was a bunch of nonsense.
Well, I think most people in the media who were very critical of Brady and the Patriots initially, I think as stuff came out over the succeeding 5 or 6 months, and there really wasn't a lot there other than connect the dot stuff that required you to draw your own conclusions. There was never anything specifically, I thought, that showed that Brady did it or knew about it. And I think there's a lot to be said, although I never really had studied the ideal gas law before. I think there is something to that.
We're still waiting on the findings from not this season, last season. They were supposed to study the
they didn't tell us.
Inflation rate of footballs, the PSI of footballs before halftime and after games. In a stunner, that has yet to be released, which usually means like they didn't find any correlating evidence to support them, right?
Of course that's what it means. Otherwise, they would have been very happy to.
We've gone through 2 seasons now.
Yeah, I mean, they could have said.
I think it builds to the lore. If he wins after sitting out 4 games without Gronk, I think it only adds to the legacy, and it puts him in the greatest of all time category.
Well, I think he's there now. That's my opinion. He's tied with Montana.
But if he loses, he's 4-3.
Right.
And look, he's not responsible for Wes Welker dropping the ball. My husband can only do so much, right? He's not responsible for David Tyree catching on top of him, but he didn't play well in that game. On the other hand, 5-2 looks a whole lot better than 4-3.
No, but he's won his 4 by a total of 13 points and lost his 2 by a total of 7. And you can make a case one play either way. He could be 6-0 or he could be 0-6.
No question.